Hello, beautiful collective. Welcome into your daily inspiration and affirmations on Unmasked Universe, where we unmask the universe that lives inside of you. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here today. We have some special energy floating around here. I am already receiving some downloads, so we're going to get straight into it. Check out the energy today. We'll start with our energy oracle deck, see what Spirit has to say. What is the current energy of the collective for Sunday, January 19th, please, Spirit? There it is. Okay. All right. So we'll get one more card here. What is the current energy of the collective for Sunday, January 19th? Please and thank you, Spirit. What is the energy of the collective for Sunday, January 19th? There it is. Okay. Very clear. Okay, so if you tuned into yesterday's reading, we talked a bit about attracting abundance and why you may feel that it's not coming in, what's out of alignment. If you haven't watched that video yet, you may want to watch that one first. But today we got financial constraints. Okay. And door to value. Okay. So in yesterday's video, I will just touch base a tiny bit in case you don't have time to watch that. But in yesterday's video, I did touch base on when we feel um, when we feel unworthy, or there's some aspect of us that doesn't feel safe. Our inner child, our wounded selves, does not feel safe or worthy enough to receive it. Then we're out of alignment with whatever it is that we're trying to manifest. And so in this situation, a lot of you are facing financial constraints right now, and Spirit is really trying to hammer it in this time that your door to value starts from within. So the only way to lift your financial constraints and actually make yourself a resonant match to money or abundance of any kind, or any emotional, mental resources that you need, physical resources that you need. The only way that you're going to bring that in and lift these financial constraints is by understanding that the door to your value is within you. So whatever it is that is causing conflict within you doesn't allow you to manifest what it is that you truly want, because you're manifesting from a wounded state. So then what you manifest is the same kind of return, the same life, the same situation, the same amount of money. It all ties into how you're projecting it. And if you feel unworthy, sorry, backwards, if you feel unworthy, then you're not going to actually manifest what it is that you want. So there was a lot of things coming up around self-worth that are causing blockages in receiving what it is that you want, which is then causing financial constraints and fear around that, which then just, fills that feeling of being unworthy again. So we'll see what else comes through here, but this seems to be the collective energy. We'll get into the affirmations, and I think I'm going to ask, what is it that your inner child needs you to recognize the most on Sunday, January 9th? What is it that your inner child, the collective's inner child, needs them to recognize the most, Spirit, so that they can see their door to value? What is it that the collective's inner child needs to hear the most? Thank you. In order to heal that wounded self and see or attract abundance into their life. See their door to value. Oh, okay, we got a few here. Okay, that came out in a big clump, so I'll put that one back, and then we'll be left with 4. Wait, did that go down? No, 5. Okay. Okay. Starting to get a clear picture here. Okay, so the first affirmation is, and if you're new here, I say the affirmation first, and then I slow it down so that you can say it too. Or if you want, you can pause the video and you can write it down. The first one is, I center my own life, my needs, my feelings, and emotions. I center my I center my life for myself and only for me. Okay, so we'll slow it down. I center my own life, my needs, my feelings, and emotions. I center my life for myself and only for me. Okay, so the next one is, I validate myself every time I reach my goals, push past my limitations, and meet myself where I am. So I'll slow that down for you. I validate myself every time I reach my goals, push past my limitations, and meet myself where I am. Okay. And then the next one is, I experience great joy in everything I do in my life. Joy is all around me, and I witness it all the time. So I'll slow that down for you. I experience great joy in everything I do in my life. Joy is all around me, and I witness it all the time. Okay. And then the next one is, I am able to say no to what doesn't serve me. No is a complete sentence. No explanation required. So I'll slow that down for you. I am able to say no to what doesn't serve me. No is a complete sentence. No explanation required. All right. Then the last one is, I pinpoint my own weaknesses and see them as opportunities to learn about myself and my inner resolve. I am stronger than my weaknesses. Okay, so I'll slow that down for you. I pinpoint my own weaknesses and see them as opportunities to learn about myself and my inner resolve. I my weaknesses. Okay, readjust my cards here. All right, so that's spelling out the picture here for me already. And I kind of picked up on this that there is some inner child work that may need to be attended to, you know. So that came through even before I started this reading. Some loving on your inner child needs to happen today. So, what is self-care activity that will help the collective connect with their inner child most today and give them what they need in order to feel worthy for the energy of Sunday, January 19th? Okay, there we go. Ah, in my home, Sunday is the day where we do a special breakfast. So during the week, with kids, obviously, it's hard to do special breakfasts. And so on Sunday, I like to take Sundays and have more time with my kids and enjoy ourselves. And that's the day that I make a more special breakfast, like waffles or pancakes or, well, I haven't done crepes yet since I've been in this new home, but omelets or just different things that we don't have time to do during the busy week. So the first one that came up was breakfast. So it may be time to indulge your inner child, spend some extra time. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Spend some extra time today in preparing some sort of meal that would really indulge your inner child and spend time on it. When you're making it, think about your inner child. Think about yourself when you were a child and how excited you would be for whatever it is that you're going to make. Okay, because it's not a thing that you would have normally. It's something that would be on, or you'd be given on a special occasion. And so think about what that is. And while you're preparing it, think about the excitement that your inner child will have and feel when they see the completed thing on a plate and it's right before them, right? Think about that love. Put your loving energy into the food that you're preparing for yourself. Um, and allow your inner child to feel valued, to feel worthy of receiving that because it's not your everyday type of thing that you're going to eat, right? So indulge your inner child today and feed not only your body, but your soul through the food choice that you make, okay? The next one is gift. And now both of these can resonate with you, or you can choose one. It's really up to you. But gift can mean a few things here. So when I see this card, I always think of, you know, oftentimes we always put others before us. We think about others before us. Many of you are very thoughtful types of people. That's why you're here. You probably have a lot of empathy and a lot of compassion and love. And so when you buy gifts for others, you likely put some thought into it, right? Um, and how often, though, do we buy a gift for ourselves? Or how often do we give ourselves a gift? Because it doesn't have to be bought. It could be the gift of relaxation. It could be the gift of a bath. It could be the gift of going to a sauna, right? And just having that heat draw out all the impurities from your body. It doesn't have to be something that you necessarily buy. It could be the gift of being with people that you love. It can be a lot of things. It could be the gift of just taking time to slow down and give back to yourself. But it can also be that you do buy something because we're talking about the inner child. Buy something that would make your inner child so happy. So when I see this in relation to the inner child itself, Um, I think back as to what I wanted most when I was a child. What were the things that I wanted most that my parents always said no to? So it could be a toy, it could be an ice cream. For me, it was always a candy bar, a chocolate bar in the aisle at the grocery store because they sell them here. They sell them, they have them all lined up where you unload your groceries at the till. And so that was one thing for me, or treats in general, right? So, what is something that you were denied as a kid that you have the ability to give yourself? And now, again, maybe it isn't something like maybe you don't have the funds to go and buy something, okay? Or maybe you have very limited funds. So work within your budget, work within your frame of reference. If it's a very like expensive thing, such as a trip to some sort of really exciting place that you always wanted to go to as a child, well, clearly that's not going to fit into a budget that is really strained right now, right? Constraints, financial constraints. But think about the things that you could achieve if you can afford a chocolate bar, and that was something that you were denied often as a kid. Another thing for me was gum. So, um, one of my parents never, like, always ate gum, but never wanted to share it. And so I always wanted the gum, and I would only get like the gum from their mouth that was already chewed and flavorless. So I remember wanting gum so much as a child, and so now I buy gum. It's sugar free. It's got xylitol in it instead, but I buy gum and I indulge my inner child that way because that inner child of mine was so desperate for gum. I'm going to tell you something embarrassing and gross. That inner child of mine was so desperate for gum that they would eat gum off the bottom of tables at restaurants. Ew. I think about that now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. But that's how much I wanted the gum and I couldn't have the gum. So desperate times call for desperate measures. Oh, I have not told that story to too many people. It's pretty gross. But that shows you something, right? So think about what it is that you were denied. It could be as simple as a piece of gum, and that's very inexpensive. So what is it? Maybe it was playing. Maybe it was time spent with you, right? You can indulge your inner child by giving yourself the gift, if you have children or grandchildren, of actually sitting down and playing with them or having a games night, playing a board game that reminds you of when you were a child, or even a card game. It can be simple and it can be inexpensive, or you can go out and buy yourself that toy that you always wanted. Maybe they don't sell the exact same one, but something similar, right? You get the idea. So, what gift did your inner child want as a child and not get? You give that to yourself today. Okay. This is also feeding that value within yourself because you're valuing, you're seeing, first of all, your inner child's needs that weren't met. And then you're giving that to them. And anytime you can give that to them, anytime you're capable of giving them that, if a thought comes in your mind, like a memory of something that you didn't get as a child, that is your indication that your inner child is really wanting you to see that and to provide that. Now, of course, like I mentioned before, we can't go outside of our budgets. We can't go to the extremes unless you're capable of doing that. Work within your budget, but what were the dreams that were coming through? What are the memories that your inner child is trying to show you? So pay attention to those things, and when you see them, or when you feel them, or you remember them, if you're triggered into your past as a child, and that's something that you were denied as a child, give that to them. It could even just be hugs. Oh, I love you so much. Close connection, you know? It could be words of affirmation. It could be anything. So, what is it that your inner child is telling you that they would really like to receive as a gift today? All right. Thank you for that, Spirit. We did not do our money magic manifesting card, so let's do that since I'm seeing some financial constraints. Um, let's see, what am I going to ask here? What does the collective need most on Sunday, January 19th, in order to feel valued from the inside, which will help them to align with their manifestations? Please and thank you, Spirit. What are the affirmations that the collective needs most on January 19th, Sunday, which will affirm their value from the inside out? Thank you, Spirit. Which affirmations will help the collective manifest their personal value that will align them with their manifestations? Thank you. All right. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, that doesn't surprise me. So the first one is I lovingly move past my limitations on my personal wealth. See if we can get it to focus. Okay. And then the second one is money loves me and I love money. And you can yell that one. I do. Okay. And then I forgive and release my financial past with love. So if you've made mistakes with money in the past, forgive yourself because that was conditioning, right? From your childhood, especially if you grew up in lack and scarcity. If you grew up in poverty. Okay, and the last one is I release the need to consume what doesn't align with my goals. Okay, so for some of you, you may be still stuck in patterns of behavior that are detrimental to your finances, such as overspending. That's a big one that I'm getting right now. Spending on things that you don't really need. So, like, sometimes that can be if you grew up in lack and scarcity and poverty, often you'll do things like hit up the sales or use coupons, and then you'll buy in bulk and you'll buy a bunch of stuff that you don't actually need that are going to sit there for a long time. Eventually, you might need them, but often that's the case. You're living in scarcity and survival mode. And so you start stocking up a bunch of things that you don't necessarily need. And then you don't have the money for the things you really do need to put it towards. So that is one thing that I'm getting. Another thing is for some of you, you're eating out too much. That's what I'm hearing. You're eating out too much. And that money, because eating out, depending on where you live, can be quite expensive over time, right? Whereas you can be saving some money in actually taking the time to buy the groceries and prepare the meals yourself. If you don't like cooking, a good thing to do is batch cooking and you can freeze it so that you have meals readily available that are healthy, but also that you're not spending a bunch of money on things that you do not need to consume. Because I'm also getting like consume, that could be addictions as well, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs for some of you. Um, yeah, so releasing the need to consume what doesn't serve you. And I'm also picking up for some of you, you may have subscriptions to things, such as extra packages, cable. It could be like Audible, it could be, YouTube, it could be, like extras on top of just the basics. And for some of you, because your finances are so constrained, you're being asked to look at what is actually necessary. Okay. What is necessary versus what is a want at this point. And part of this whole realignment is getting your finances back in control as well and keeping track of your budget, keeping a tight budget. Um, because one of the things that I'm seeing here is that there are a lot of limitations being placed on your finances because some of you aren't paying attention. Maybe you're using cards too often and you're not actually using cash and you're not creating a budget, so you don't even know where your money is going. And then it's gone. So keeping track of finances is really important right now. Really cutting down on what doesn't, like, what is a desire versus what is a need, not overspending or over consuming things that aren't essential at this time, and figuring out what your monthly budget should look like, and creating, if you have a lot of debt, creating a debt payment schedule. Actually, I'm hearing for one or two of you, maybe a few of you, going in and getting a consolidated loan on your credit, which means that you will not have a credit card or anything at that time. You will not have access to a credit card because they pay off your credit cards and then you can pay a one lump sum monthly, so that at a very low interest rate rather than a really high interest rate, which you may have racked up on credit cards, so that that way you can actually get your finances under control. A little distracted. Hold on one second. My daughter just came in. Yeah, so for some of you, Spirit's really asking you to, in order to forgive your financial past, you have to stop creating the same situations and circumstances that are putting you into financial constraints as well. And an aspect of that is understanding what your money inflow is and what your money outflow is, what your actual bills are, your necessities are, what they cost, so keeping track, keeping your receipts for a while until you understand the cost, not just blindly picking stuff up and buying it without looking at how much it costs, being ignorant about what it is that you are spending on. So they say ignorance is bliss, but it's actually not. It keeps you in the same patterns of behavior. And so releasing some of these patterns means that you need to really buckle down on what it is that you're doing, how you're spending, um, how childhood behaviors or childhood conditioning is actually creating these behaviors to begin with. So again, if you grew up in scarcity and lack or poverty, you're going to have preconditioned assumptions, ideas, programs, beliefs around money. And a lot of it can be healed and released, but it starts with you taking responsibility over your finances, seeing how you behave, and beginning to not only heal those aspects within yourself from your family situation and saying no to what no longer serves you, but also by um, changing your patterns of behavior. So if you know that when you're tired or you're emotionally dysregulated, that you tend to just go on a shopping spree and overspend in order to try and fill that void, instead of doing that, re-regulate yourself, meditate, ground yourself, work with your inner child, work on those wounds, and don't go shopping on that day. Okay. It's just like the same the same adage, like never go shopping on an empty stomach. It's the same thing. If you are hungry for something, which in this case you would be because you're trying to fill a childhood wound, you're trying to fill the void with something for instant gratification, which will actually make you feel worse and make you feel a lot of shame and guilt because you're not able to break the pattern, but you are. You need to break the pattern by understanding that you're filling a void, first of all, where that void comes from, and then reconditioning yourself every time you feel that urge, every time you feel dysregulated or emotional or out of balance, out of alignment, not to go and put yourself in environments where you're going to be triggered into living out that same cycle. So, those are some of the things that I'm getting here. Yeah, and that comes down to pinpointing your own weaknesses, seeing them as opportunities, right? To learn about yourself and your inner resolve. So by avoiding repeating these patterns over and over and taking responsibility for them instead, you're you're creating self-confidence, self-worth, and your inner resolve, that strength that comes from um, stopping a behavior that is detrimental to you, it's harmful to you, stopping that, and that could be addictions of any kind. Stopping these patterns of behavior is what creates this sense of confidence and worthiness within you. It creates that inner resolve and that strength within you. And the more often you witness your own programming and you get to the bottom of it, like the root cause where the childhood wound was, and then you do the opposite of that pattern, the more you actually create this new foundation where it gets easier and easier to say no to that. Say no. No, I see it in within myself. I see this pattern emerging, and it's because I'm feeling this way and I'm triggered right now. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation or in that environment or with that person or with that substance. I'm not going to do that because I love myself. And by loving myself, that means saying no to it and taking care of my needs instead. All right, let's get a cosmic oracle message here. Okay, Spirit. Oh, that was fast. Oh, yeah. And this just ties into what I was saying here. So this card is, your life is so special. Treat it with loving care. Absolutely. Each and every one of you deserves your loving care. And that does come with, you know, looking at the inner turmoil that's within us that's causing us this these patterns of behavior, the dissatisfaction in our life. It comes with looking at what our inner child is trying to tell us and what our previous conditioning and experiences were that created the life that we're continuing to loop around in, these cycles of behavior, these cycles of thought, these cycles of emotion, these cycles of relationships and jobs. And um, we need to really understand that the only way out of it is to really look deeply within us and see how we are creating that reality for ourselves. Because you are the creator of your own reality. And so, what do you want to create? If that's not what you want to create, then how is it being created out of you? And then, what do you want to create instead? Because not only do you stop these patterns of behaviors, that's kind of like the first aspect of it. But the second is then what do you want to create? How are you going to show up in the world? How are you going to show up for yourself? How are you going to act and behave in situations when you do get triggered by things that would try to pull you back into old cycles of behavior? Loving yourself. You are special. And you can create the life that you truly want, but you have to first start from what's happening within you. Okay, so to close out, we will get one message for the collective for Sunday, January 19th, please. Let's get a message from their inner child. Oh, that one already came out, so before I ask the question. Okay, it says, oh, it's the same one as yesterday, but it does tie into the same energy. I mean, um, from yesterday to today, I'm just seeing the progression. It's like coming to a head, and you're having this realization that, okay, something really does need to change within me first before my outer world is going to change. So the card is make today your new beginning. Try to leave any past mistakes in the past. Don't allow them to weigh you down any longer. Move forward today with the confidence in and knowing that you have a better and brighter, sorry, I misread that. Move forward today with the confidence and knowing that you have better and brighter days ahead. So again, it's about not beating ourselves up over the past mistakes. And I'm seeing a lot around finances today and a lot around how we're showing up in the world and what we're asking other people to fill or other outside things to fill that void with. So again, this comes down to, are you asking people to validate you, to see you, to hear you, to love you, to give you all the things that you should be giving yourself? Are you saying no to what does not serve your highest and greatest good that would get you in alignment with what you truly want? Are you saying no to the people who are bringing in that same type of energy that is keeping you stuck in whatever rut you're in right now? And that could be emotional. That could be that they're living in scarcity. That could be that they are controlling. That could be that, they're not overly optimistic. What energies are you allowing into your life from external resources? What are you like? You're placing expectations on everything outside of you. And the universe, spirit, your guides, they're asking you to take responsibility for what you're looking for outside of you and start filling that within yourself. Look at what's lacking, what's creating this situation for you, and understand that you don't need to hold on to the shame or the guilt or the regret for making mistakes in the past. You're human. That's the whole point of being here, is that we live a karmic life based on other people's conditioning and programming, our parents, namely, so that you get to a point where you're like, okay, enough is enough. When is it my turn to shine? When is it my turn to live independently as my own, you know, person in this world with my own autonomy, where I get to then make decisions for myself that are healthy and helpful and create a good structured life for me that allow me to live a life of ease. When is it my turn? When you reach that point, which it looks like a lot of you are today, when you reach that point, you finally start to create changes because you open yourself up to the acceptance that you are in control of all of this. And when you finally accept responsibility for your own life and your own actions and behaviors that got you to where you are right now, that's when the door to opportunity really starts to open. Because then you can start creating lasting changes. It doesn't mean you have to do it all in one day, but make a plan. Say, today I'm going to focus on this area of my life. Let's say finances. Today I'm going to look at my finances. I'm going to carve out a couple of hours and look at my finances and see where my money is going and how much I actually have coming in as opposed to how much I'm spending. And then maybe another day, like you spend a whole week on finances, another day you say, well, what is the budget? Or, well, no, look at like what are my actual needs versus what I'm actually spending it on, desires and wants and, overindulgence on things I don't actually need versus what I actually need in order to check off all the boxes of sustaining right now. And then maybe the next day you're going to go, well, how can I create a plan to pay off my debt? even if it's slowly? How can I put the money that I would spend on overindulging into paying off my debt instead? And then maybe the next day it's like, how do I create a cash budget in jars, that are labeled specifically like groceries, gas or bus, um, rent or mortgage or, utilities? How can I create a budget so that I can visually see how much money I actually have versus using cards where I can't keep track of my spending or I just won't? Take responsibility for yourself and do it for every aspect of your life. And it is then that you will start to bring yourself into alignment. And when you show yourself respect by doing that, you're showing your inner child that you are ready to step up to the plate and to take care of them fully. Because as a child, they weren't. Okay? They weren't properly taken care of. And that's why they are still expressing this energy of being wounded and feeling unworthy and feeling unsafe. Because you're demonstrating to them by your lack of accountability that you're not ready to take responsibility and to keep them safe, to keep them sheltered. And when that happens, then ultimately they're going to keep putting that energy out, and you're going to attract the same experiences into your life over and over and over again. So the only way out is to actually look at yourself fully, and not with any resentment, not with any guilt, not with any shame, not being hard on yourself. Just honestly look at yourself and what you're doing to create that circumstance and to create the dis-ease within your inner child to make them feel that way. That's making them feel that way. And then start taking action on your life in order to change that and bring it back into alignment. And that will ultimately show them you're demonstrating through your behavior to them that you care about their safety. You care about whether or not they have food or healthy food or a roof over their head. Or do you see what I mean? Lead by example, just like you would if you had children. You want to lead by example, and they will register that as I'm safe, I'm fed, I am loved, I'm appreciated, I'm taken care of. So I think that's the message for today. That's where I feel called to end it. I love you all so much. I hope that this message helped some of you or all of you. If it did resonate, feel free to leave a comment. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and welcome. For all my returning subscribers, I love you so much. I'm so grateful that you're here today with me, spending some time on your Sunday. I do these sessions every day, and now that I'm getting my own flow going, as I expand the channel and learn more, I will be having them out all the time. So I will be pre-recording some of them so that they're out on time and they hit up the appropriate algorithms for YouTube. All right. So if you see me wearing the same thing all the time, that's why. It's just so that I can create structure in my own life and balance in my 3D world with my gifts and my inspiration that I like to share with all of you. All right. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Don't forget to hit up that like button. Talk to you later. Bye.